silent! Be still!
Always stream with the.
That's why mine are always black.
Hereafter, so that we remember our bonds, we shall always come together in a circle.
It's not so much chill. We hit so many different topics and jump all over.
To hear and tell of deeds good and brave.
You went full cookie puss.
Hey, I'm just look.
I will build a round table where this fellowship shall meet.
So that's why it's the round table. We're all equals here.
Well, at least I'm not pulling a rickshaw.
Remember it well then, this night, so that in the years ahead, you can say, I was there that night.
There's a lot of shots being fired.
And it sounded like somebody was sucking down their microphone like a slack jaw bundle of sticks.
Whoa, there's no gay frogs here.
Good and evil, there never is one without the other.
Where hides evil then in my kingdom?
Always where you never expected.
When it passes through Antifa ranks, it smells like cat piss and kitty litter.
Yeah.
And patchouli. I know a few YouTubers who smell like that.
And look upon this moment. Savory. Rejoice with great gladness.
And welcome to the round table.
For it is the doom of men that they forget.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the round table. Tonight we are covering the final episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Arcane. And I gotta say, this is one of my favorite series, probably of all time, regarding animated anything. This thing is next level. And I want to say a quick hello to the people out there. We got Fun University, which I believe is Adam's other handle. There is Adam. Here's Toy Mafia was in. Let's see. We got Tina Bojan. She's on panel as well, and we're gonna get to panel in a second. Lion Ratton's also in the house. What's up, buddy? RR. He's excited too. The final episodes of Arcane. This series, man. So much detail, especially in these last episodes. Lurch, what's up, buddy? Good seeing you too, man. We're diving into all of this, man. In 300 BC, this intro first aired was great. However, come on, dude, that was Tommy who made it. So I gotta thank him for it. But I still like it. It works for the round table. We have Trina also on panel tonight. And we're gonna jump into all this now. So we'll start with Trina. How you been? You excited for this one to talk about?
I've been okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into these episodes with you guys.
Awesome. Happy
Sunday to you guys and everybody else out there watching us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's I know RR. He's been watching with us too. So thanks, buddy. And I'm glad that you've been enjoying them. Yeah, we're gonna do the full breakdown. I got screenshots for it all. So and maybe at the end we'll play something. I think we're gonna play the trailer to the next spin-off series as well. I'm gonna have to dig it up towards the end, but remind me if I forget. So we also have Bad Take Bojan in the house. How you doing, Tina?
I'm doing great. I hope everybody else is having a fantastic weekend. I worked a little bit more than I wanted to, but it was definitely nice. I was kind of treating myself with an episode in between every few hours worth of work to take a break. So that was really nice. So me and the puppy were cuddling during most of that. So I hope everybody else was also able to be safe and warm too, because the weather be out there crazy.
Yeah, this week, the last couple of days was pretty cold for us over here. From going to the 80s, dropping down, the low one of the nights was 35. Like, we're not used to that, like, out of the blue.
I laughed when you guys from Florida be like, it was so cold here. Like, no, it wasn't.
Well, Tommy and his wife are the ones with electric blankets. I wasn't, but
Oh wow.
Oh my god.
he's gonna kill me because I said it. But but no, it's I'm from New York. I'm normally used to it, but not when it's just a drop like that of like 50 to 60 degrees in a day. I'm like, no, your body's like, oh, what the hell just happened here? Before we get to Adam too, I want to get Tina's her thoughts on the last 3 episodes before we get into these with 4, 5, and 6. Since you weren't on last time, what did you think of all that?
I think they were absolutely fantastic. I mean, the art still continues to blow my mind. There's not, since I don't have a lot of animated series to compare it to other than the traditional cartoons you watched as a kid. This, I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but the closest I can compare this show to is Gargoyles.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair.
They're even though they're animated characters, they have such personality and depth to them.
Yeah, and you care about pretty much all of them. It's
absolutely.
It's amazing how they did it. What were your thoughts on the surprise with Vander, sort of his return?
You have to refresh my memory.
He's the big beast.
Oh yes, okay. I'm sorry. I forgot that's when it was revealed in those episodes. For some reason, I thought it was earlier in the first couple episodes of the season. That was really kind of crazy. I think that. I can't say that I thought that it was predictable. I thought it was a really good surprise.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, like when it was there, it's like, oh my, is this really him? Like, but when it happens, yeah, it's just fantastic. I loved it. How he goes from psycho mode to protector of them, and then that whole struggle because his humanity is gone and he's still trying to hold on when the girls encounter him and snap him out of it. Like, there's so much great stuff. I mean, the tragedy of what happens afterwards, and all that with Victor, and it's pretty wild. I know, you couldn't make it last week, but I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on that before we dive into these.
Yeah, I mean, every episode is just better than the next. I mean, I can't even say that there were any bad episodes in either of the seasons.
Yeah, again, the writing was so tight on the entire series, so. Really cool stuff. So thank you for being here. And of course, we're going to get to Adam, superfan Adam Shawhand, who again was helping out people who don't have Netflix, or if they weren't able to see it. Adam was helping them out again this today. So Adam, welcome, my friend.
Well, it was fun again. I mean, Mr. It's like 16 here, and you're whining about it being 40.
Oh, I wasn't whining.
No, I know those that are hiding under the blankets that you were speaking of. It's an open burn, baby. It's for everyone to enjoy.
Oh, that's great. Absolutely hilarious.
But I mean, it's good, man. I'm glad. It sucks because this is it. But like I said, you could almost. The way this is done, you could almost break down every episode and put almost as much time as we've done in the 3. And I mean, it's just, there's so much, and these 3 that we're about to cover.
Yeah.
It's just, a full circle. Perfect.
As I was making my notes, I was saying that too. Because I'm like, 7 alone, because there's so much that happens here.
Oh, goodness. Well, and you know this because I was texting you when I was watching it.
Oh,
the first time when I'd be like, oh my God. And I would tell you what I think might happen because I would always pause to kind of take it all in and then I would message you.
Yeah. So
it's your fault. You brought it to us.
This is something else, but so we're gonna start jumping into it. Gargoyles was great until I'd say the last 12 episodes, whatever the hell it was, because the writer and the creator said it too. They forced him to change things when they did their final season, and it wasn't even a full season. It was like a quarter of a season compared to what the hell they normally did. But I don't know. Well, hopefully we could start breaking into those soon too. I mean,
I'd love to get Trina to watch them with us.
I know.
That would be so fun. I haven't watched them since I was babysitting in high school.
We could
That's
do
how long it
watch
was.
parties if you gals have a day that works for you, because I have Disney and they're on Disney because Nate
Sweet.
watches Disney. So I'm just saying, you got the hookup for free.
It would be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Oh, and yeah, and I know Adam said he wanted to cover the Frighteners movie at some point. So yeah, if you ladies are down for that too, just let me know. That's the one with Michael J. Fox, the Peter Jackson movie.
Yeah, I know that movie.
Cool. So yeah,
There's
but
all
yeah,
kinds of fun stuff. I've been blowing Vinny up with a couple ideas because The Shining. I've been watching a lot of stuff on that. I never saw the series. I saw
Doctor Sleep. Yeah, that's the other one too.
And Dr. Sleep, you guys mentioned yesterday, and like I never saw that one. Of course, I've seen The Shining and all that, but I was intrigued. And then I found out there was a series I missed. And I'm like, oh man, I have to bring this up to Trina and Vinny, and maybe that's something we could,
we'll have time for that. Let's dive into this. There's a lot to unpack.
So much.
And yeah, even Lurch, he was saying that the animation is he was superior to live action, and he's 32. I'll say it. So yeah, man, dude, this stuff is really impressive. And again, I don't understand how anyone could. Well, whatever. Who cares about the crying babies? Let's jump into this. And yeah, so this thing opens up with Echo, and he's like transported to another reality, and it's almost like he entered the body of another version of himself. And he doesn't recognize what the hell's going on at all. And as he's like looking at himself in the mirror, because his entire demeanor, his clothes, everything has changed. He's like, what the hell's going on? We get Powder Jinx comes in, and technically she's Powder here, and he starts flipping out. He throws something at her. She's like, did you just throw something at me? Like, she's like completely like this kid is like oblivious to what the hell happened and where he is. And so as they're talking and he's trying to figure this out, the door opens up and Benzo's there, his father figure from when he was a little kid, who was killed when he was a little kid. And he just breaks down. He doesn't even hear anything. He just runs over and hugs him. And he's like, what's all this about? Like, like really confused. The whole thing is jarring. And so
remember, Vinny, he touched the Arcane. We've not seen him since. So this is the first time we're seeing him.
Right. Yeah. It was Echo, Jace, and Heimerdinger. They all kind of they had disappeared, and we don't know too much about him. We saw when Jace came back in episode 6, and he was a very changed man, and he was out to destroy the Arcane and anyone involved with it. And he looked to put an end to Victor, which he did in episode 6. He blasted a hole through his chest. And so like I said, there was a lot that was going on. But now we're into the Echo part. Like, where the hell was he? Where was Heimerdinger? And we're seeing it. So they sort of like they're transported to like another dimension. It looks like, or some kind of other reality. And Vander is alive. Pretty much, almost everyone's alive. The two guys, Milo and Clogger, they're alive. And he's like he's like in shock too. But as he's sitting there at the bar with Powder, he's sitting there and he just keeps drawing this circular shape. He's making that hex core arcane thing that they got pulled into. Like, he can't help it. Like, it keeps coming out of his head. He's spazzing out a bit over all this stuff. Like I said, it's really cool how they did all this stuff. But yeah, the whole episode is basically like in this other world. It was really cool to see that. And you can see like Powder and Echo, apparently they have some kind of relationship. It's, they're partners, it looks like. And they're working like on this science stuff, because it's like the big thing in the first season where Jace, like the scientist award thing and the inventors kind of world fair thing that they're doing. So like all like the kids are all like they invented something, and that's kind of, he was tossed into this. But as he's here, he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on as they're working on the projects and stuff.
Reminds me of Quantum Leap.
Yeah, kind of. I definitely say that. Milo, he wants to go try to get with the waitress or whatever, and Powder goes to help him out, and so he doesn't make an ass out of himself. But Yeah, so Echo, he ends up getting sick, like, and he throws up, and he runs to the back, like the back alley when Heimerdinger pops up, and Heimerdinger sees like his sketches. Yeah, this is where he's getting sick, and Heimerdinger's there. So yeah, and he sees the drawing with the arcane thing going on. So he knows what's up, and yeah, he meets him outside, and yeah, they discuss that, and he basically he told us like, oh my god, I didn't know that. He goes, how long were you here for? He goes, I didn't know. I thought I was losing my mind. Echo said, and Heimerdinger was like, I've been here 1,000 and something. Like he gave some crazy number of days. So he's been there for a number of years, and he goes, and you were just waiting for me. He's like, well, it seems like it worked. It seems like you're, whatever that transition was, that he popped up there. So yeah, as that happens, yeah, Powder comes out, and yeah, she's trying to figure out what's going on with them too. And that's when they cut back to Jace, and we're going to see how he got to the point that he got to. He's got the full beard, and he's out to, take out Victor and all that. So yeah, he's in yet another realm. He's not in theirs, and things are even more disturbed here. He goes to pick up his hammer, and it's so heavy, like he can't even. He leaves it there, and the whole thing kind of spazzes out and shuts down on him. So he goes to look over, and he sees like that shadowy figure who gave him like that jewel when he was a kid. He sees this figure there, so he goes to run towards him, and he follows him to the fog, but he's not there. Instead, he runs into what looks like the remains of the people of Peltover. He doesn't even know that it's Peltover yet. He sees all this horrific imagery going on here. Yeah, and the guy's kind of like, he gets destroyed when he finds out that it actually is Peltover. And yeah, there's the main, the central hub of the city and all that. And whatever happened, it started from there. It emanated outward. So yeah, it's yeah, Jason's pretty destroyed over here. So yeah, we get back to Echo, and yeah, she says, you want in the alleyway, she goes, you wanna, I'm gonna go talk to Vi, you want to come with me? And they go to like what would have been like her hideout in the other realm, and it's more of a home over here. And this is when he finds out that Vi is actually dead. And yeah, so in this world, she's the one who dies, and it seems like nobody else. And he can't make heads or tails of what's going on either. And he says something really bad. Like, he goes, was this your fault? Because we know originally it was her fault why all this kind of started. And she goes, it was the tip we got from you. She goes, why are you doing this to me? Why? Like, she gets really upset because she doesn't know if he's playing head games with them or something. And it's just, he's just coming off as really mean. But he's truly clueless on what the hell happened here, because he wasn't in this realm. He was in, the one that we know of. So she's lighting candles and stuff. She made a doll of her sister out of like a music box. So like later you see she cranks this up and it actually still plays music, which is kind of neat. But yeah, so yeah, she died when they broke into Jace's apartment in the very first episode of season 1. So in this world, yeah, she's the one, Vi's the one that gets taken out. But Echo, he's walking on the bridge, like the last big encounter that he had with Jinx, and like it looked like she was dead there. And he gets snapped out of it because these kids kind of run into him. But this is the bridge, and it's like it's teeming with life and people, and it looks like everyone's kind of like in a union. The people from Zaun and the people of Peltover, like things are good in this realm, whatever it is. And he kind of starts to notice and sees that there's no hex magic, there's no arcane here, not to his knowledge anyway. So as we're seeing that, they're cutting back and forth to Jace, and yeah, he's dragging his hammer now, and because again he can't use the magic in it, so this thing is literally like a ton of bricks he's dragging, or a cinder block, and he's seeing everything is destroyed, absolutely everything. Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah, and the space between spaces. Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is really amazing how they did this. Yeah, just the artistry is insane. So as Echo, he's traveling through all this. he heads towards Jace's apartment building where he got the tip originally when they were kids, and he goes to check out the place. So it's all boarded up, and as he gets in there, he notices the destruction, like the explosion or whatever that happened, and he starts getting flashes in his head. But then we also see in this other messed up realm of Jace, and like that same part of the city, and even his own apartment building is like this, really completely corrupted and messed up. So as he's kind of doing almost like detective work to see what happened here and try to piece it together in his mind, he's also looking for shards of the arcane crystal, the unstable one, because it never gets stabilized in this world. So when this explosion happens, it changed everything from that point in their lives, which I thought was really cool, and like it totally, like the different direction that what happens without the magic in this world. So pretty interesting. So there's Vi. I guess as it happened, they even brought in the Asian dude, like he comes in while they're like all crying over the body and all that. But then when it keeps cutting back to Echo as he finds some shards and remains that are blasted into the wall. So again, no one knows about this stuff, but he does, since he's from the other world. And and it's interesting too, because we see this later. So she has some of them still in her hand at this point too, as she's crying over her sister's body, but we don't know what happened to that. And so he starts picking out the shards and stuff out of the walls, as we keep seeing what had happened in the past. Like, it was a good kind of back and forth segue. But he finds this many pieces that were in the wall. So he wants to try and put this all together, and he needs help though. So he goes to Heimerdinger, and he wants to see if it's possible. But then we see Jace as he's kind of going through this, and he sees these other kind of husks of, I guess that would be the proper terminology for it, of the people who got affected or, killed by whatever happened. And when he's walking through them, one of them starts to move, and he gets freaked out. He starts to run, and there's a bunch of them that start popping up, and he doesn't know what the hell they are, and he ends up taking a tumble, and he falls all the way down this kind of crevasse or whatever, and his hammer lands on his leg, and and he gets knocked out too. So, and I like how they keep cutting back and forth between Echo and Jace.
The way they did the storytelling in this with the light and the dark, and the current and what could have been, because again, we're looking at what had happened if Jace did do the last thing we saw him do with Victor, which was end him.
Yeah.
So, again, this is what we're getting, and you and I, of course, had seen this far ahead of the girls. But I'm so glad they got to see this too, because I really enjoyed the way that they did the storytelling in this. That's why I kept saying, you find out what you need to know when you need to know it.
Yeah, they crammed so much into these last 3 episodes too. Because where we were in 4, 5, and 6, it's like, how are they going to finish this in 3 episodes? But boy, did they do a great job at it. So so we see Echo is talking to Heimerdinger as he's like, is it possible? He's like, Heimerdinger thinks it's impossible. And we see the smashed up leg of Jace. He can't even stand up. So he's essentially down in this area for what looks like to be a couple of weeks at least. I don't know. Because he ends up growing a full beard. He's trying to survive on there. He grabs whatever bugs and things he could find, and he's lizard type things, and he's cooking and eating them. But as he's down there, he's sort of starting to lose his mind, and even his hammer starts to get corrupted. Like, you see like the growth of this stuff from the arcane that's in it. Like, whatever this world is it's highly affected, and like I said, he starts to kind of lose his mind a little bit. And he grabs a rock and he's scraping on the walls, the equations and things, and what this hex core is, and he's going over all the bad decisions he's made that led him up into this point. This kind of destroyed man. But yeah, he eventually he takes apart his hammer and he uses the pieces to make like a brace for his leg. So that's so he could try to get out of where he's in. So yeah, so a couple of different shots of that. You know, like I said, it's a pain in the ass grabbing all these screenshots, but it helps because again, it's a lot of complicated stuff that was going on here, and especially for people if like they just had like a first watch through, because it moves very quickly, you know. But yeah, so he makes his way back up to the surface, and then we cut back to Echo, and to appease Jinx and to apologize to her as well. He tells her of a dream that he had, because he doesn't want to come off like a crazy person. So he's like, oh, he's not saying I'm from another realm. He goes, I had a dream about Vi, and you know, Jinx is like, her jaw drops. She's like, you painted this for me, you know, and like, oh my god, yeah, of what Vi would have been and who she was in his dream. And he goes, you're different too. He's like, oh, what's this? Oh, you want me to change? He goes, no, I don't want you to change. So, you know, he's making peace with her and trying to explain things to her as well of this thing that he's seen in his dream, basically. And she turns around to him, and you know, she likes him again, and it basically offers her help. Like, what do you need? And he goes, because in this other dream that he had, she's such like a smart person. She's very, you know, capable of figuring out technologies and stuff. And as you can see in this world, they're working together anyway. So it makes sense to try to involve her in this. So yeah, Heimerdinger, he ends up helping the two of them as well. What's up, Tommy? Good seeing you, brother.
Hey, Tommy.
There he is. But yeah, like I said, it's really again awesome storytelling, and again, like Adam was saying too, between the dark and the light. So we're seeing Jace, you know, he's making his way through like all these different parts of Peltover, and he eventually makes his way towards the bridge, and then up to the center of where all this happened. And this time, he's not afraid of these things that are, as you can see, some of them are still following him in the foreground. He was one of them. There's two of them up there, like they're just watching over him. They're not attacking him or anything. And then, yeah, they cut back to them, and they're figuring shit out, and they start working on building this kind of containment unit thing, and working on like carving the runes and everything, and trying to recreate the event that brought them here, essentially. So they're trying to make their own hex core, you know, and she's figuring out some things too, but she still has no idea what the hell they're doing and what this is for. And as they start to get the magic to work, you see the tools start floating and they're splitting, like almost like the atoms and stuff. And it's, you know, kind of like how they were before they got pulled into this other world and dimension. So, yeah, really, again, the artistry in this is insane. But yeah, so they're able to make a very tiny little kind of hex core magic thing here. And they're like, what the hell does it do? You know, like Potter has no idea. And so they start to see that she repeated herself. And he's like, well, yeah, you already asked me that. She's like, what are you talking about? He finds out it's a loop. So it keeps playing every couple of seconds ago. So he pulls his cord, he pulls the chain, he tries to figure out more of it. And they want to find out the time on this thing too. So it's like, well, how far could you go back? She's like, you made a time machine? And they're like, Heimerdinger's like, don't press your luck with this stuff. We can't move quickly because it could be dangerous. And he wants to test its limits. So he goes to pull this thing and he starts to do a countdown. As he does, Heimerdinger explodes. Like that caught me for a loop the first time I saw it. I was like, holy shit.
Hot pocket.
He literally explodes. And then he's like, oh shit. So he kind of reversed time again. He goes, well, what happened, boy? How far back did you go? He's like, 4 seconds is the limit. He goes, what happened after that? He goes, trust me, we don't want to go past four seconds. And he marks it off on his little stopwatch. Yeah, and that wasn't something I thought would happen. Like, his eyes like busted out of his head, and they kind of was like an off-camera kill. You saw the blood shoot up. But yeah, it was
awesome, dude. Like, if you're gonna kill him, what way to kill him other than have him explode in front of you?
Right? It was wild. But hold on, where are we? But yeah, so they're getting ready for like the big, invention, the World's Fair thing, and there's like a dance like the night before, whatever. And he tells it to him, "Oh, you're young. Go have fun. I'll figure it out. I think I know how to amplify this." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, go. Don't worry." So he's gonna try to make this thing even stronger. Because again, this guy's super genius professor, been around for like 150 years, whatever it was. I forgot the number, but he's been around for a very long time.
311 years, I believe.
Oh,
and then now we're in
311.
the future, so we don't know. We don't know how far in the future we are either.
Right. He's been there for.
Good call.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
No, I was just say that good call. I couldn't tell. Is this the future or just an alternate universe?
Where Echo and Heimerdinger are, it's like an alternate universe. But where Jace is seems to be the future-ish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought where Echo and Heimerdinger were a place where they hadn't discovered the crystals, and then
Correct.
where Jace was in a place where they had and Victor ascended, and this is what happened to like humanity or whatever kind of like
the Jace part of it seems to be correct. The part with Echo and them, it's that technology, that Arcane was there, but it ended in Jace's apartment because they never got to stabilize it. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so however Vi ended up dying, I guess she dropped one of them and exploded on her right in front of her. Apparently Powder, she grabbed the rest of those crystals and took them with her.
Yeah, so it's an alternate universe.
Yeah. So it was that point in the timeline where things changed.
It's a what if episode.
Yeah, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought that was what Jace was in too. He's in a what if episode where Victor was completely successful. Everybody evolved to whatever it is that they thought they were going to evolve to, and they're not moving. There's no the way one of the summaries was explained to me. It was kind of cool that when they found out that once they finally evolved, there was like no point to life because you weren't pursuing anything new. You weren't trying to create anything. So that's why all the character or whatever the people were like moved very slowly because
this particular thing where Jace is, it ties into the last episode because it is as if the good thing didn't happen because Jace going back and trying to stop all this. This is the world that was going to happen had Jace not gone back and changed things. So and Echo he plays that big part too. So that's the thing. It gets a little jarring when you get to 9 because there is that time travel element that is connected to this realm that Jace is in.
Gotcha.
Well, see, I took it the other way. I took it that because the last bit we saw, Jace stopped him, and you saw the harem drop like he died. So I took it that this is the world if he just killed Jace and everything just goes to shit.
Yeah, So like where. So one is an alternate. So they're actually both kind of alternate universes where Jace is like a possible future, and the one with Heimerdinger and everything that's like an alternate. That's also like a possible like an alternate timeline.
Yeah, well, the one where Heimerdinger is, we don't see Jace at all there. It looks like he does get arrested for having that illegal stuff. For having these are like two different, like these are possible like different possible futures from different paths that
or I was wondering if the other guy wasn't seeing all of this as a mage, he sees everything all at once. So like his brain's taking all, like if you're Victor, you're seeing all of it. Of course, which I'll stop because there's that bit in episode 9 that I'm not going to bring up with Echo.
Because there's a turning point in 9 where it looks like the events of this realm right here are going to happen, and it gets stopped at a certain point in 9. So
thank you, Echo.
What did they say in was it the beginning of season 2? The boy who defied time, or it was something along those lines where basically Echo is the one who pretty much saves the day. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna get there. So as that's happening, yeah, they show the other kids here, well, Powder and Echo. Yeah, they're at the dance, and he's starting to see what life could have been or what it is for this other alternate version of him, and he is starting to connect with her in a big way, and he's fallen for her. And but apparently they're already an item in this realm, but to him, he wasn't privy to any of that. He just entered the body of his alternate himself or whatever the hell.
Wonder Woman 88'd it.
Well,
I mean, but you're
without
right,
the sexual assaults, but
right,
yeah.
right.
But
he
so
only knows her as Powder because of what he's been through. He never had this because this never existed for him.
Yeah, and Jinx doesn't exist in this world. It's just
right.
Powder. She never loses.
Only Powder.
Yeah, she never loses her mind and breaks. So yeah, and this one we see her potential, and again how smart she is and all that, which we did see when she is Jinx as well. But this is without any of the evil or any of the corruption. Yeah, so he says because she's ready to kiss him, and he's like, could we take it like it's the first time, like humor me kind of thing, and because for him it seems to actually be. He's been living his whole life from when he was a kid underground, trying to stop all the bad and all that stuff. So I don't think he had time for a relationship. So, but again, this is what would have happened had things been different, because the two of them were, pretty much together all the time as kids. So it would have been natural. But yeah, then we get back to Jace, and as he's making his way, he's like up the, the citadel, the center of Peltover. He gets to the roof basically, and he gets past all of the disgustingness of what the air is and how everything's corrupted, and he sees this kind of like this beautiful vision here, and he sees himself there. So yeah, this is there's the alternate version of him in this world, and he seems to have been, he met his demise as well, and this is where it started. So we end up seeing that in episode 9, where things kind of changed from that point. But yeah, this is what was going to happen had Echo not jumped in. So yeah, he left something in her pocket when he goes back to go check on Heimerdinger, and it's this little gift, and it's like this necklace that it spins in all different directions. And then it was a good segue to the actual, like, this other sphere, and basically Heimerdinger, he builds it. Well, he's that quick, he's that good, he's that smart, the professor, and he recreates that thing that could potentially bring them back to where they need to be. And at this point, Jace, he encounters the hooded figure who, again, gave him the arcane on his, that he wears like on his wrist there from when he was a kid. So yeah, here's that mysterious figure. And Jace wants to change things. He goes, send me back. If you could, please send me back. I'll change it. I'll do whatever it is, so we could stop this from ever happening. And it seems like there's a bigger conversation that, again, we don't see until episode 9, but he makes a deal with this figure. And yeah, so as that's going on at the same time, Heimerdinger and Echo, they get the hex core thing to work, and it blows up big. So it's almost like the size that, from the thing that pulled them in there to begin with. So yeah, they're able to kind of recreate it. And yeah, this is when Jace is like, yeah, I could do it. And since he doesn't have his hammer anymore, he takes the one that's there. Like, you see, like, the hand comes undone here and gives him the hammer. So he has his weapon basically from the future to go back in time. And yeah, so the two of them, they're inside the hex core thing as it's doing its thing, and it's about to pull them to the future. But the power is so strong, it's starting to pull the metal and other things apart and disconnects. And this was a good throwback to Back to the Future, when Marty's in the car and the doc notices, he goes to pull on the cable and the tree branch fell and it disconnected.
Yeah.
Great Scott.
Oh, yeah.
That's the moment we have here. And he's like, oh, dear. He's like, I'll be back in a flash. And he jumps out of the circle. But he goes, but before he does, he tells him, like, I got to say, out of all my students, you are one of the smartest and brightest. And like, he's basically saying a goodbye to Echo. And he's like, wait, what are you doing? And as he goes to reconnect the power source so it doesn't all close on him, Powder comes down the stairs. She's like, "What the hell's going on?" Like she doesn't know what the hell they're doing. And this thing, like, it blows up pretty much. It's blowing up, ready to take him back. And Heimerdinger, he's hitting all the buttons and trying to get everything to stay working. At the same exact moment, Jace is being pulled back as well. And the thing on his wrist, that piece of stone, that's when it kind of like emerges with them, almost like the corruption. So that was pretty cool too. And that thing's part of that magic is what's able to bring him back in time. And as that happens, we see Heimerdinger, he puts the cords together and he gets disintegrated.
Yeah.
He's just poof, gone.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Yeah, he Obi-Wan'd all the way here. And here's the cord he was holding. It drops with a little bit of electricity. She runs over. She's like, "What the hell's going on?" And she sees Echo out cold outside of the sphere. But as she's checking on him, to see if he's alive, she looks up into the sphere, and you see Echo, our Echo basically from, and he's holding the device that's about to bring him back. And he looks down at her and smiles. Like, it was like they both at that moment was like, it's not a dream. This was an alternate reality version. And he's grateful for the time he got to spend with Powder. Really, really good writing, heartfelt moment between the characters. Really brilliant stuff here.
It backs up the bit previously with the watch and when they were doing the gun stuff with the toys, and then when he was actually facing her, to then you're here, you go full circle with this kid.
Oh yeah, because they almost destroyed each other on the bridge.
Yeah, in his world, they were the best of friends to the bitterest of enemies.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too. It's like your heart breaks for Echo too, because it's like his moment's gone with her, and like what we do see in this alternate reality, they are together, but this poor guy who went through all the shit that he went through, it's over for him pretty much. And he's still grateful for the kiss that he had the moment he had with her, and then he vanishes, and when he does, the entire thing gets destroyed with it. He gets sucked right back in. So like I said, man, powerful storytelling. It makes you give a shit about all the characters, throughout. So she goes back to her little where her hideout was, but she has a drawer that has Vi written on it, and she opens it up, and you see she has the remaining stones, the ones from Jace's apartment. She took all of them, and they're shattered. She has pieces of it there, and she puts the gift that Echo had given her into the drawer as well, and closes it. So this is almost like, kind of a memoriam or something for her sister and for that version of Echo, but yet also hints at the possibility that she might even be able to recreate this if she wanted to, because, all of the writings are there too, Did you guys?
It makes sense because makes sense because her version of Echo could just as easily figure out what the other version did, which allowed him to leave. So
especially
he has the potential. Yeah, exactly. Because you take what Heimerdinger said, that he was the best of all of his students.
Oh yeah,
possibilities there.
Yeah,
I like it.
It shows exactly. RR, you nailed it. Like, again, there's so much awesome stuff that they did here, and again, powerful. So it's this part, to me, it sort of feels like it could be left open, but it could also be closed and contained too. Like, she just closes the drawer and, like, she'll just think back of the good memories of both her sister and that version of Echo. But yeah, it could also open up the possibilities for more. But then we get back, and now we finally see what the hell had happened to Mel. So she was there with the Black Rose, and she was all chained up. And the last we saw her is like her eyes started lighting up, and she was busting out of the chains. And she does. Whatever the hell was in her is now kind of awakened. And she bursts through and breaks all the chains, lands back into a different reality, because the Black Rose was doing a whole head trip on her, where she was at kind of prison where the fake version of her brother was, and then that other realm that was all red and black like that. So she breaks out of this spell or whatever that they were trying to manipulate and do to her, and she sees the basically the black rose that's there. I thought this was pretty cool too how they did this. But so it's like that version of the girl who got killed by her mother. So she it's taking the form of all different people. It keeps changing, shape shifting, and she wants to see the true form of it. And it's like a shadowy figure with like those glowing eyes, but it's trying to like to make a deal with her too, and basically saying that you are the child we were looking for. You're the potential that's there. And calls Mel their sister. Like that magic is in her, that it's the same as theirs, basically. And she kind of makes a deal with her too, and gives her a necklace because they want Mbessa. They need her to be stopped, and Mel's going to try to figure out how to do it. But they gift her this necklace that kind of disappears, like it's magical, so it goes kind of into her. Like you're not going to see it hanging on her, but she pulls it out later, and you'll see what it does. But pretty damn cool. And as we do cut back to Mbessa, and she is burying Rictus, her the big guy, her second in command there, because we saw Vander ripped him to shreds when he went ballistic on the basically on this battlefield of that underground area. And so if we remember, Aisha shot up at Vander, and this massive explosion happened. So we didn't know what the hell had happened. So this is the aftermath as well. But so as they're burying him, we see Singe, and he's basically taking the blood from Vander, and he's going to use it to kind of fuel and try to save Victor. And Victor's like in this kind of cocoon orb thing. And they're pumping all this energy and stuff into him to kind of remake him, or have him evolve in a way, sort of like he did in the past with the runes and the Arcane and all that. So as I guess he does kind of come back to life, he inhabits one of his followers there, and he starts to speak. And that's when Mbessa goes, "You could speak through them, like you could control them." And like she's putting it together too, and coming up with her own kind of concoction and her version of what she wants to happen, basically, because she's very manipulative, and she's very impressed that they're a hive mind, and she likes that. So then we cut back into the mind,
because the good guys are always a hive mind.
Yeah, right. Holy shit! Yeah, she's crazy. But it's again, really, really great stuff here. So we see Sky kind of again, almost like Victor's Jiminy Cricket, because basically this is all in his head. Her soul isn't with him, because we see later how he just lets her go. But and he senses this other arcane source that's deep underground. And he sees that it's underneath, like the core of the city, where the big hex core was, and he wants to go into it. He wants to use it, because now he sees like humanity is doomed, and they should all be a hive mind. They should be his vision and version of everything. So there won't be any more fighting and this and that. You know how these people start to lose their mind, like Trina's saying, like a hive mind. That's what the good guys want. No,
it reminded me of the Borg in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can completely see that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he is like slowly losing his mind too. He makes a deal with Mbessa, and basically he's going to evolve everyone, and you see them all start to float. And she goes, "Could you do it to all of them?" Because she wants an army now. And he goes, "Anyone who's willing." Like he's not going to take them against their will. He's still trying to be noble-ish in a way, but that doesn't last long. So as that's going on, we're seeing Vi is snapping out of it. Like she was knocked out. Well, when the explosion happened, there was a lot that happened, and so she's getting flashes and glimpses in her mind before she wakes up of what had happened. And Jinx was trying to save her. And then she sees, Aisha and like what she had done, to Vander, and that whole explosion that happens. So when she wakes up, she actually sees Vander sitting there, but it's not. It's the dude that kind of looks like him. Which I had his name written down. Vorus, I think his name is. Yeah, Vorus.
Is that his name?
I think so. They said it like twice, but kind of quick. Well, that's what I heard anyway. I could be wrong, but either way, like he's there for her. Let me put this one down. Where's my other note? So yeah, she wakes up and she walks in on Kate, and Kate's kind of arguing with Maddie over here about what the hell happened, what's going on, and that's when Vi comes in, like, and she's real pissed, and they tell Maddie to leave, and she goes, yeah, you were being controlled by that war pig. She was filling your ears with all this shit, and Kate snaps and she throws the little trinket she had in her hand, like the little warship thing or whatever. She throws it on the floor. She goes, I know, like, she's not stupid. She knows what had happened, but she's beating herself up too, because she didn't like that Mbessa was able to get her meat hooks into her so deep. She goes, yeah, because everything's happening so fast. She goes, yeah, I didn't know what to do. She goes, and she goes, I was waiting for you to wake up and to figure out what we were gonna do. And Vi's like, who decides who gets a second chance? She goes, my sister changed. I know she did, and she wants to know where she is. And she said that she's arrested, and Vi's getting more pissed there, because she's like, why'd you arrest her? She goes, I didn't know what to do with her, and she gave up. She surrendered. So I brought her in, basically. And so then we do see Jinx in her holding cell, and she's really absolutely destroyed completely. Like, she's giving up on life. And was it at this point? Or it happened later. She's or maybe it happened later. So Kate comes in to talk to her, and Jinx wants to be killed. She wants her end, and it's crazy, like, because she's in there to see if she could let her out, kind of, and she wants to hear more from her about this. And Jinx, she basically says, she goes, I didn't know, just for what it's worth, I didn't know your mother was there. She goes, it probably wouldn't have changed anything, my attack, but I didn't know. Like, you could see the remorse and the regret that she has. But yeah, she's basically ready to give up, kind of. So we get back to Victor, and now, he's back home, in air quotations. And Mel arrives there, and so he figures that it was you who saved us when Jinx attacked. She goes, it was just why didn't you save everyone? And she goes, I don't know. It was like an instinct. Like, she didn't know what had happened. She doesn't know her capability. She doesn't know her powers. So, like, he's very pissed, but at the same time, he's kind of seeing it. So as they're talking, this porcelain-looking soldier thing comes in, and it's Victor, and he's talking through this kind of avatar thing. And Jace he wants to destroy it. He doesn't like anything of what he's doing, and this thing actually does attempt to attack them. And they use their powers, and they're trying to stop him. But again, he's projecting himself into this thing and talking about how important the hive mind is, how we have to do this, because man will always be like this. We're always going to have these fights and all this other shit. And so he's nearly choking out Jace, and he kind of breaks free, but after a little struggle, he gets manhandled again, and the thing even takes the hammer away from him, and he's like choking him out, like he's blacking out. And that's when Mel, she uses her powers to try to stop him. Together they end up getting him down, and you see like a tear come out of this thing's face, and it's destroyed, and he gets blasted back. And at this point, you hear it, like the voiceover of Victor, his body that's with Singe and Besta's army. And he says, Doc, you could proceed with the go ahead, do what you're gonna do. He's now ready to evolve completely. And it's quite disturbing and sad of what Victor's turning into here. But back in the prison here, and I thought this was really cool too. Like she's completely giving up on everything. You know, she has Silco pops up in her mind, and she's having a conversation with him. And yeah, like again, she's ready to take herself out essentially. You know, and that's it's sad to kind of see where they're going with that. But hold on, where was I? Yeah, she's in the prison. Sorry, just going over where my notes are. But yeah, Silco and the conversation that they're having too. Well, what she thinks he's saying. You know, it comes down to you know, this endless cycle of fighting and all that, and you know, she wants it to end now. You know, and as she's kind of figuring, you know, hearing the shit in her head, Vi comes in with the keys, and she swiped them off the guard, and she's not giving up on her sister, so she unlocks it, runs over and hugs her, and she's like, "You're really not giving up on me, huh?" And she goes, "I'll never give up on you."
I like when he tells her you're only free when you can walk away from it.
Yeah.
Like that was an epic line to be said by him of all people in her own mind after being fixed by the crazy doctor.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. So yeah, Jinx is like that's the one connection she has is her sister, and she wants to see her sister happy. So she uses her super speed. She gets out of there. She locks the door. She locks Vi in there. She said, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Don't worry. You don't have to worry about me ever again." She would be with her, be happy. She goes, "What are you gonna do, Jinx? What are you gonna do?" She goes, "I'm gonna break the cycle." So Vi's screaming, and she punches the wall that she's locking there. She can't do anything, as her sister's potentially going to go to end things, is what it looks like. And so we do get back to that's her backing into the shadows. This one flipping out. We're back to Mel and Jace. And they're talking about her blood and all that, and kind of what's inside of her. And you know, she doesn't fully understand either, or how to control it. What was it? Jace says he turns back to it because they're about to go talk to the people in the council chamber room. But he looks back at her and he goes, you'll never be a passenger. You control this. Because he's trying to build her back up a bit too, because he was upset with her. He feels like he was completely used and Victor was used by her. They kind of like they have their moment. They kind of make peace about that, because it was about it was about the Arcane. It was about this new technology and trying to better everything and everyone. So, but it's good that it's like they're not on a hate thing. There's still something there with them. So JC says, the enemy, it's like something we've never seen before, and he's trying to talk to all the people, the other like big families in the people of power there, and he unveils this creature thing, and he goes, we're going to need everyone to join with us, because if that doesn't happen, we're going to be defeated. And he goes, and I understand when not everyone's going to want to join. He goes, but if you run, keep running. Don't come back, because whatever this is, if it wins, it's going to take over everything. So, there's like a montage of like the different people who are kind of the ones who are fleeing and the ones who decide to come back. And some of them are joining the enforcers. This cause is kind of uniting the people in a way, but there's a good number of them who left. Like they don't want anything to do with this because they don't think that they could win it. And they feel like, Peltover is going to be destroyed essentially. So, like I said, a lot of people are leaving town and just, picking up and going. We're back to Vi in the prison, and Caitlin goes, I thought you'd be here. And basically, she let this happen as well. She's like, She goes, yeah, say it. I'm a fool. That's what Vi was saying. She goes, I really thought she would help us. And Caitlin's like, you really thought I needed all the guards down here, or to watch the Hex Gate? And like she opens up the door and like she runs over and they kiss and she sees that it's, that Caitlyn gave her a chance to save her sister as well. But yeah, Jinx she seems to, want to end things on her own. But the two of them reconnect here and they get hot and heavy. They make out in the prison and basically no one's around. So they get down and do the dirty deed, which I don't feel like it was really necessary to get this. I mean, they didn't get super graphic or nothing, but I get it that they wanted to show them together again. But yeah, I mean, we know it.
Yeah. I was a little worried for a second. Like I figured, okay, they're heavily implying what happened, but they weren't graphic about it, so I was okay.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't have to get super graphic, but like
for those weird, freaky people, that just have to have that weird shit. I was glad it was missing.
Yeah. So again, they handled most of the stuff with class anyway. So again, you could really tell that they cared about all the characters in the world that they created. So to do something that was going to be too over the top would have been completely out of place. So I'm glad they stopped where they did. But yeah. Then Mel, she actually goes to the camp where Mbessa is, and she's again trying to reason with her. And she goes to talk to her mother, and basically she's preparing for war. And Mbessa's like, "You're alive." She didn't even know Mel was alive. But yeah, they start to talk. She's like, she was the Black Rose lies, because she's like everything that happened, with my brother and Kino, and Mbessa slaps her, and she actually sheds a tear for her son, which we don't really see too much emotion out of this one, except for anger. So she's like, Peltover. Mel says Peltover has nothing to do with your war. She was leave now with your army. She was, I'll join you. We could defeat the Rose together. Like she's trying to sell her on it, and Mbessa doesn't want to. She's like, no, you're still too weak. These people are weak and defiant, and she wants to, basically she wants to use her new army she wants to test it on the people of Peltover is what it looks like. And so the magic runes that the big dude Rictus that he had that kind of shielded him from magic, she's now using it, and she's going to make it part of her kind of armor. And as we see that, she walks Mel out, and she goes, could you imagine an army of that won't die? And she's like, what have you done, mother? And she sees all of the, those kind of porcelain soldiers here floating above, with seems to be Victor in there. And we get a vision of what exactly happened. And so basically there's Vander, and the doctor was using him because, again, he has that special something in him that could regenerate and all that. So he's now using it to try to regenerate Victor. But at the same time, too, Victor he's going to evolve into something else. And basically, Sky's like, I guess this is goodbye, Victor. And Victor goes, I'll miss our talk, Sky. And she goes, no, you won't. And she fades completely and just vanishes. So she was completely in his mind. And now that he's evolving, he doesn't need her anymore. As the doctor hits Vander with one of his other kind of medical things, like this injection thing, and he starts to kind of spaz out at him, roars at him, and then we're seeing like the bond between him. Well, Victor is using him to evolve, and I like how they did like that segue between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as that's happening, everyone's changing, everything's changing. You're seeing the power that's going into the his cocoon orb thing. And as that's happening, we're seeing all of Vander's memories vanish, like burn and fade away, until his eyes go black like this, and you see like black tears coming out of it, like he's completely lifeless again. You see all of the people that were floating in the air, and including Vander. Like this is what you see on the other side, with the arcane magic and all that. He's changing and evolving all of them. But yeah, even Vander, he gets pulled up into the air, and he gets changed. And as that's happening, we're seeing how he's morphing and changing and evolving on the inside of the cocoon until that's where they ended the episode, which was again pretty badass.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And
I took it that him and her together, the reason she disappears is because again, the Arcane ate her, and he was in the Arcane, so they were only united by the Arcane. And then when they do this to him to redo him, it you know what I mean? It takes all the good as it did with him as well.
Yeah, it could definitely be that as well. I mean, there's a couple of different ways to interpret it.
It's to interpretation, obviously, and I love listening to your points because like I don't always get it the same way you do, but again, that's how I read into what you were just saying. You know what I mean? It's just my perspective.
Yeah, pretty much. Lars, what's going on over there? What was that about? Sorry, I was reading the notes and everything.
Oh, that was when you were talking about how, that like we don't need the nudity and something about like, Adam said something about like for the weirdos that need it or something like that.
Yeah, that need that kind of.
Yeah, and Lurch was like, "F you too."
Wait, 18. I mean, there's ways of going about it, but I think another reason why they didn't is because again, this is based off a video game that kids play. So
it wasn't needed either, to be honest. Like they didn't need to be any more graphic than what I've been okay with everything we've seen. You know, it's been very tasteful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta spank. He did say he was joking, so yeah, no, it's all good. But yeah,
at least they were consistent. I mean, because they didn't show Mel and Jace, very graphic sex, and it was the same thing here with the two ladies. So
yeah, it was still handled well. But yeah, so yeah, this is where they ended the episode, which is again crazy. It's like, what the hell is Victor doing now? But yeah, pretty powerful stuff all around. Any thoughts before we jump into 9?
No, well, I really liked how they did this episode. How it was like, what like kind of alternate universes and stuff like that. I thought that was very interesting, and I really loved how we see like Victor, like how he can see like all the universes all at once.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I just thought the writing and everything was fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking the same thing because, like, again, the first time I watched it, and now when I watched it again, and picking up all the other little things that happened throughout this, because to break it down for the notes and to get the screenshots, like, you see a little bit more, and because again, with the animation, things do move quickly at times, but being able to get some of the screenshots, I think it helped in a big way, to really break it down for everybody too. But awesome, really awesome. So we do open up now with 9, and here's Powder. She's basically on the floor, and her hair is all out. Well, we think it's all out. She actually stands up. She had cut it all, and she's just like laying there because when she gets up, all of her hair is actually it's all short. She just chopped it all off, and she's pouring gasoline all over Silco's office and the bar that used to be Vander's. And yeah, she's ready to ignite this whole place, let it all go. And yeah, so she does, and like you see it exploding from the outside, and whatever's there. She goes back to her little hideout area, and as you can see, this is someone that doesn't look like she wants to last long. And she pulls one of her grenades out, and she goes to explode herself. And as she is about to be ripped apart, it goes in reverse, and she freezes, and she's like, she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't even know that time had stopped or reversed. And she hears Echo, and he's trying to stop her. He's, wait, don't. She's like, what are you doing here? You better leave. And then she pulls it again, and she keeps pulling it. He keeps going back in time 3 seconds to stop her. And as it happens, he's getting hit by some of the blasts. So when he goes back in time, like you see, like he's bleeding, he's a little messed up. And again, she keeps repeating the process. He keeps trying, and then at one point he's just like, I'm just He's always a dance with you. I'm just gonna sit here for a second. And she's like, he's like, I don't want to see my friend try to blow us up again. She's like, I'm tired. I want to go. And she goes to throw herself off the fan thing and pull it again. And he pulls it again to stop her. And she goes back in reverse. She's trying to kill herself like multiple times. But she finally does listen to him. She stops to hear him. Yeah, it's crazy because he goes, listen, he goes, no matter what happened in the past, it's never too late to build something new. You know, someone worth building it for. Like, he said his words are enough to kind of stop her for a moment so he could talk to her more. But we don't see exactly what happens until a little bit later when we get back to Vi. And kind of what's going on. So we're seeing like kind of the war room and how the people who are there are ready to, you know, end this with Mbessa and, you know, the attack that's about to happen. So it's Jace, Mel, Caitlyn, and Vi, and they're kind of planning what they're going to do. Kate, she was, you know, Victor's at the center of this, isn't he? And Jace, you know, we're not meant to win, is what he tells her. We're not meant to win this fight. And Caitlyn, well, we best stop him then. So then we cut and we see like, yeah, they're using like the Hexgate weaponry as like, you know, almost like these weapons to try to stop the army that's coming at them. They're hitting like the ships, Mbessa's ships that are in the water coming towards them. And we see Vi, she's like by the lighthouse area and she grabs one of the wounded enforcers, you know, like a firefighter basically. Fireman carries her out and across the bridge to where the others are to safety. And when she goes to I want to get a screenshot of that. When she goes to take off the helmet, she sees the blue hair. And for a second, she thought it was Jinx, but it wasn't. It was one of her followers who kind of came back, who was actually the waitress in the alternate universe that Milo was trying to get with, which I thought was kind of cool too. So
I missed that.
Yeah, it was that same black girl. But yeah, so yeah, she dies right here basically in Vi's arms. And then yeah, we see Mbessa. Yeah, she's attacking and like this was cool. Like there was a lot of awesome stuff here. And again, she's like a force of nature. She is like your Thanos character, ready to destroy everyone. And we see from a distance, Caitlyn, she goes to take a shot with the Hex Core weaponry at Mbessa. And when she goes to blast her, those magic runes that she got from Rictus she's using it like a shield, and she's not getting affected, but she does get a bit of the Hex weaponry kind of goes through and kind of, you know, skins her face. And she goes to try to make another shot too. And yeah, Mbessa's not happy about that as she yells at her other people to attack where the shots are coming from. So Caitlyn's in there and she goes, bold little one, you know, like she's, you know, you almost had me, but I got you first kind of thing. But as we do see, she's not dead. She is alive. She went further down and Maddie's with her and she uses her, you know, her scope to see what the hell's going on. And they hit the war drums and they're bringing this huge guy out, one of her army guys who's mutated by Singe's shimmer, and he's dragging the big core that supposedly has Victor in it. And then we cut back and we see Jace. He's at the core of the city and he's trying to remove all the Hex Core power because he wants to shut this down completely and he wants to destroy what's there. So as he's pulling it, like, you know, parts of the city and the magic that was being used for the Hex Gate and everything, that's all shutting down. And yeah, that's when they got like the big gun aimed at the guy here. They're gonna try to stop him. Vi's helping the other enforcers to keep the doors closed on them. Yeah, there's what was his name again? Loris. Yeah, and yeah, he's using the weaponry. He's about to blast down at the big guy who's dragging you know, the cocoon thing, and he doesn't make it. They bad guys kick the door down and they start shooting, and yeah, they get him with 3 arrows. There's another one gets him in the neck and takes him out. So Yeah, it's sad, but yeah, he's down. They're bringing the core to the center. She's beating the shit of all the guys in here, doing jumps and flips and punching and all that crap. As she's making her way, and then one of them grabs her and pins her to the floor, and that's when she notices that her buddy's dead. He's dead, and yeah, and they needed that weaponry too to to try to stop them down there. But on the ground, we see Caitlin and her guys. The other part of the plan, they're going to try to put a bomb on the cocoon thing, and they need a distraction, so they were going to throw the gas and stuff. And this guy gets clipped in the neck. He drops it there. Like 3 others, they were able to get the gas out there, and so everything gets filled with it. They have their masks on, and they're firing and trying to stop them and make their way to the core thing. And Maddie gave the bomb to one of her other enforcers, this dude, and he was to put it on there. They're going to go take cover. She uses one of the bodies as a shield, and nothing's happening. And then we see there's a nail that's jammed into it, and the bomb's not going to go off. And Caitlin gets knocked out, and as she comes to, like, all the smoke is cleared, the fighting is stopped, and she sees her enforcers are all, on their knees. And Bessa's soldiers are there, and she can't figure out what the hell happened as she's trying to. And Bessa comes up the stairs with the rest of her army, and we see it's Maddie who two-faced them, who double-crossed them. She was working for Bessa all along. This piece of shit. More confirmation. Them soulless gingers, unbelievable. But we knew. So anyway, yeah, she does her little her salute to Mbessa. And yeah, well, what the hell did Mbessa say to her? She goes, "Oh, I warned you the hazards of professional entanglements." So as she says that, Caitlin snatches the other rifle out of her hand and hits Maddie in the face with it, and she goes to attack Mbessa, and Mbessa moves with like lightning speed and grabs the gun and stabs Caitlin in the stomach with a T-knife. Yeah, she gets it right there. Ooh, not good. And there it is. So, and it's stuck in her. She falls on the floor, and Maddie's behind her, and Mbessa goes, "Just finish it already. Be done with this." So she's about to shoot her. She takes that shot, and Maddie goes, she goes, I did appreciate your warmth, as she goes to shoot at her, and we see this kind of force field thing. And Mel basically saves Caitlin, and the shot ricochets, and boom, her own bullet goes into her own head. This was fantastic and so satisfying.
Yep.
I replayed this multiple times. I hated Maddie. So, yeah, she hits the floor, and I had to make sure we had at least 2 shots of her so we have that confirmation that she's dead. So, yeah, so Caitlin, yeah, she gets back to her feet, and we see, like, the doors open up, and Mel's behind the doors. Badass, all power, like, she's starting to figure it out more. The army goes to attack them, and that's when we see Jinx. We hear music as a mother and daughter are like arguing. Yeah, Jinx is like in a kind of hot air balloon ship, and she has a new look and a new lease on life, is what it seems. So she's taking control of this ship. She starts blowing up. You see her bombs and stuff going off on the bridge, attacking Mbessa's men, which is great. And she's pissed, and she's like, "Shoot that thing out of the air." And then we see the Fireflies. They jump off the ship. So there's Echo with his people. Yeah, and they're in on the fight. And as they're coming down on the fight and to try to save the day as well, we see some of the other people, and including Savika. They come out of the smoke too, and they're there to fight for Peltover and to stop Mbessa, which is really cool. She's taking a lot of them. What's his face? Echo knocks out the big guy. They're using him as a shield. And Jinx, she goes to save her sister, who's up in the tower part still. And Echo, he flies up there to help as well. As they're doing all that, she sees the other dude. They know they need to explode that cocoon and stop Victor. So yeah, he gets one of the other enforcers gets Varos's body out of there, and he goes to shoot at the damn thing. And as that happens, they get more fighting. They're trying to stop them. Mel's in on the action. She's using the power to stop Mbessa's dudes. Vi, she throws one of them into the electric thing, and then the guy pulls the switch. So yeah, he does shoot at the cocoon. I missed that shot, but and he busts it. He breaks it open, and you see Victor's not there, and then we get a close up of Mbessa's face smiling, and they're like, "Where the hell's Victor?" And then we see he is underground. He's in the heart of, underneath that tower on the bottom where the core is, and he cuts the doorway open with his magic, how powerful he is. And he confronts Jace, who's trying to shut it all down. And then out of the smoke, we see Vander in his new form, and basically the army of like those porcelain soldiers climbing all around. And they grab everyone. They're moving like lightning. They're moving like Jinx. And as they grab her and they're subduing them, they're becoming like catatonic. And the whole army surrounds, Mbessa's army surrounds the rest of them. And she's like, well, what the hell did you do, mother? And as Savika's looking up at the tower, this is where that they're all in, Victor and all them. They're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And you can see they're corrupting, and they're starting to change them all. Like they're all about to become part of the hive mind, essentially. Which again, no es bueno. So it's pretty cool stuff there. And they're grabbing everyone. And again, they're incapacitated completely.
Now, the one part I had a question about this part, though.
Yeah.
I thought the whole idea was that Victor was going to let the people who were willing to be taken over. Is it just?
It's after he evolved, he let go of all humanity, and that's when Sky disappeared.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because that's when he says, I'll miss our conversation. She says, no, you won't, because she knows, or at least that version of her, if it was in his mind, his Jiminy Cricket, so to speak, whatever she was, knew that he was gone at that point. So when he evolved to that next level, now it's like everyone's going to be on board with this.
Gotcha.
So he's that powerful. He's able to actually transform people through those avatars. It's crazy shit. And Mel is left with Mbessa here, and Caitlyn. While they're arguing, Caitlyn gets a great shot in on Mbessa. She's like, "We're gonna end this," and she grabs the one of the spears to fight Mbessa. She kicks one over to her, so that she's not unarmed. Because it wouldn't be a fair sport if one was armed and one wasn't. So Mbessa, she does like a Swahili throw, and that spear goes flying at Caitlyn, and it would have went right through her if not for Mel. Mel uses her magic and deflects the damn thing. It kills one of the other soldiers who are standing beside watching. No, Mbessa doesn't give a shit. Mel uses her power. She busts out of her shawl, or her cloak was on her, and the two of them start attacking Mbessa. So it's 2 against 1 right now. But Mbessa has that that magic thing that kind of nullifies magic that's coming at her. And as we see all of the porcelain ones coming up the tower, moving like Spider-Man, like super fast, we see Vander, his new form that he just right in front of Vi. And tries to lunge at her, and that's when Jinx saves her sister again, and his attention got diverted. So he looks back at her, and he goes to attack, and he springs off the walls. Like he's moving super fast and with super speed and all sorts of shit. Vi, she makes a jump to get out of there, and because she saw Echo coming, and he saves her. There he is, and he comes lunging at and jumps through the air onto the balloon ship, he's going after Jinx, which again, incredible stuff. The animation is just jaw dropping on all of it. So here's Vi and on Echo's board with him, and she jumps off of it into the air. And she comes flying and using like her magic fist punch there, and she goes and she hits Vander to save Jinx. And as that's going on, Mel is using her magic more and like trying to fight her mother, hitting her with all sorts of attacks. But she's absorbing it with the runes. And so Mel's not really doing any damage. Caitlyn gets back in there, old dirty style with the dagger, trying to stop her. And Bessa, she stops her instead, throws her on the floor. A good fight sequence, though, for sure. And she's like, face down basically. And mother and daughter are having at it. But they're bombarding her. They keep tag teaming. And Caitlyn gets a couple of cuts her in the leg, coming at her good. But Bess is still too strong for her. And but Mel jumps in again. Headbutts, smashing Caitlyn in the face, throws her to the ground. Back to Vander and Vi, and he has his daughter by the throat, and she's starting to get corrupted. And that's when Jinx needs to step in and help again. And Echo, he grabs the wheel to the balloon ship and crashes it into the tower. Boom! They hit it, explodes. They explode into it, and Jace is trying to talk with Victor about how bad this is and how he's trying to stop him. When Victor uses like his powers, telekinesis powers and shit, and he pushes all of everything that he just undid. Victor just powers everything back up again without even using his hands. So as that's going on, mother and daughter are still having a crazy battle, and Caitlyn jumps in again, and Bess is ready to take her out. She wants to put this dagger through her head, and she almost does. We see the knife there. And even with Mel using her force field magic, and Bess is breaking through the force field to put that blade through Caitlyn's face. And as that's happening, we see that the runes are kind of cutting through as well. And Caitlyn, she it's sort of her plan. She's going to sacrifice herself in order to stop Mbessa. And she cuts her ribbons there, and all of the runes start to fall off of her arm. But Mbessa doesn't notice it. And as she falls on the floor, Caitlyn, and she lost her eye. Like it deflects a little bit, but she loses her left eye, and she yells back to Mel. She says, "Do it now!" And she takes the necklace. It magically comes out of her, and she grabs onto it, and Black Rose comes out from the necklace and consumes Mbessa all in one shot, and chains her up and everything. So there's the Black Rose now with Mbessa, as all chained up and incapacitated, and she's like torturing her and destroying her mind, which is amazing. But then Mel pops up, and she knows that the Black Rose, they're not good, and that they're trying something else. And she goes, what did she call her? She specifically says something to her. Oh, where the hell was it? Shit. Oh, she was. I could see through you. I could see who you are. She says something along those lines to the Black Rose, and then throws her own chains onto the Black Rose, and basically, like it looks like she destroyed it and broke that reality, and Bessa and Mel fall back to this reality. And her mother's basically dead and dying. And with her last words, she goes, "It is you. You are the chosen one." And then Mbessa dies in Mel's arms. And then we cut back to the sisters. And I don't have as many screenshots because I was kind of running out of time, but I wanted to get a few of them in here so that we saw more of what was going on. Because they wake up, and Vander, he's up too, and he's still coming at them. She uses her Gatling gun thing to try to stop him. And as this is going on, Victor and Jace, they start moving upward. They're moving like at lightning speed, flying through like the underground, through the tower, and they break like gravity, and they all start floating up there inside of the tower. And Jinx, she's using her Gatling gun to kind of move through. It's almost like they're in space, that there's like no gravity. So she's using it to kind of propel herself forward and get away from her father as he's still attacking and jumping off of everything. And as it's happening, Jace catches up, but Victor grabs him by the throat, and they bust through that area. So they're like, in the upper part of the tower, and you see they cut in between all of them fighting and go even further out into the top. But Vander grabs both of his daughters, and he has them now. And Victor's using like this kind of what would you call it? Like a tendril onto everyone, and he's connecting to everyone. Like everyone's incapacitated, and they're all about to evolve into this hive mind, which is wild. So yeah, they're all there, and here is that scene that we saw from earlier in the episode, and that other realm, what that potential future. And yeah, so this is where it happens. At this point, it all gets busted out, and the entire world gets corrupted by Victor and destroyed, essentially. So, yeah, this is what his form is on the other universe side. That it's wild how they did this. It's really amazing. But yeah, the full corruption, almost like the fallen angel. This guy was so noble and good, who just his vision just became this hive mind was just pure evil, essentially. And yeah. It's sad and crazy, but
what you just saw, how Victor looked in that previous screenshot, that is that's very close to how Victor looks in the game, one of his versions.
Nice.
Oh, really?
I was thinking that might have been that, because I know everyone said he's a bad guy in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, this makes perfect sense, and yeah, really cool to see all that. But the only one who's not affected, and I think it's because he has that hexcore magic as in the time loop thing, is Echo. So he gets up, he wakes up finally, and he sees all this going on. So he starts racing through with his hoverboard thing. He makes it through all of them, and right before he's about to take out Victor, one of them takes him out. So he uses his. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to mention, I think that Echo wasn't affected by that, by Victor. You know how Victor could control everybody?
Yeah.
I think Echo wasn't affected because wasn't Echo passed out or
he was passed out.
Yeah.
Maybe like you said, maybe they thought he was dead, but I think it had to do maybe with the hex thing too, because it's one of those anomaly. When Victor had seen it, he goes like, it shouldn't exist. Like he's not even fully aware of it. Like he can't even feel it or sense it. So that's what I thought was interesting. Maybe because it was from that other realm, but it could be both. It could be, partly because
a realm where it didn't exist. So mind you, so if he could see that realm, there was no arcane or any threat. And then when they made it, then they flashed back and everything's all happening all at once is how I took it.
Yeah, because the core that they made in that other realm, they used the unstable hex magic, because it wasn't the stable version, it was the unstable version. Remember the one that exploded? It was the shards. So maybe that has something to do with it too. I don't know.
I could see that. Yeah.
It was pretty cool they did it. So he keeps attempting to do it, and they keep taking him out. He keeps pulling the cord. He keeps going back in time, and he gets so close, and he keeps getting taken out every time until he goes, screw it. He hits the dial all the way, and yeah, he just, whatever he did with the time portion of it, he's able to cut through, and he actually throws the whole unit at Victor. And Victor's like, this shouldn't exist. That device shouldn't exist. And as it hits him, everything explodes up there. And we see there you go. There's another shot of it. Which again, awesome stuff. Like the whole.
It's just gorgeous.
It's beautiful and insane how they did this. And then we see the other kind of, inside of his mind, or the other universe kind of thing, how the shell of the evil is cracked. And we see part of old Victor back there, and Jace is trying to communicate with him. And he's saying that I'm here for you, and I'm not going to let this happen. Hold on. What are my notes for this?
I love how the good guys never want to give up, even on the bad guys.
Yeah. And it was the thing too that he goes, you were my brother, I made a promise to you. I'm not letting go of that promise.
Yeah.
Because he goes, I don't understand why do you keep going, and that's basically what he had said to him. Like, I made a promise to you. I'm not gonna end this. So or we're gonna end this together rather. And as he puts his arms around him to hug him, we see like the bad corruption kind of blow off of him, and we're seeing now the vision and what was told to Jace on the other side. So the hooded figure was Victor. It was this version of Victor that apparently he does have his humanity in this other realm, and his hive mind thing, it was never supposed to be. So he does send Jace back to stop it. And the only way to have Jace stop it is to go all the way back, to give him hope, to give him that thing of magic is real, and we're going to be able to change the world. So that's why he gives him that piece. He gives him that shard when he's a kid, and when he saved Jace's mother and him in the snow. So it all comes full circle, which, again, incredible how they did this. Really, really amazing. And so the two of them together, like, they're using their bond, and they're going to stop this. And, true to fashion, what they said from the very beginning, we're going to change the world together. And they do. They get rid of all the corruption from what kind of, the shit that they caused in a way. So as everyone kind of, like, all of the porcelain soldiers collapse and everyone kind of goes back to normal, we see Vi and Vander, they're out cold, and Jinx gets up first, and she hollers to her, and she's like, "You got to get out of there, because he's not coming back. He's gone." Vi's her arm is like broken or something, and she can't even lift up that gauntlet. It falls to the floor, and that's when Vander gets up, and he's ready to attack his daughter, and Jinx is like, "Oh no!" She sees it, and so here he is. He gets up, and he's still in. He's not there anymore. So Jinx, she sacrifices herself. She comes down on him, knocks him off the ledge, and the two of them are like hanging off. Vander's hanging off of her leg, or around her waist rather, and Vi, her other arm is completely incapacitated. So all she has is the gauntlet, and she was willing to pull her sister up when Jinx, she reaches up and she hits the hex core, the circle stone, out of the gauntlet, and the gauntlet falls off of her hand, and she sacrifices herself for her sister.
This was sad. This was so sad. She's like, I'll always be with you, sis," or something like that.
Yeah.
Man.
And if you notice too, which again, with her new lease on life, she took up the look of her sister. She cut her hair the same way, did the bandages around her waist, like.
She's got parts of Violet in her.
Yeah, which again, the bond of sisters and the love that they have for one another, like, that's really great stuff.
She's back to being powder.
Yeah, and she says, "I'm always with you, sis." And Vi's screaming and crying as they're falling to their death. And as that happens, she turns back and she doesn't see the monster at all. She literally holds him by the face, and she's crying, and her tears are not falling down; they're falling up because they're going down. She sees when Vander tucked them in bed when they were kids, and really beautiful moment there. And that's the last memory she wants of Vander. And so she Vi knows what's happened. They're about to die, so she's screaming in pain. She can't do anything. As Jinx, she just stares back at into his eyes, and she pulls the grenade, and as he blows out the candle in her mind, that's when the bomb goes off, and completely just, it looks like they're gone. So then we see all the way at the top of the Citadel what would have been, that other alternate future did not happen, and actually Jace's his hammer crumbles, and a crow comes over, and it's kind of pecking around in it, like, it's done. So then we see all the people of the underground and of Peltover, and they each have a piece of paper with basically like family members and their friends, people who died, and they're doing like a eulogy kind of for them, and for their memory, burning the paper that has their name on it, and you see like all the pieces of it going to the air. And we see Echo. He's on that spot where he had kissed Jinx, and he has a piece of paper that's folded up, and he burns it with his lighter. And we don't know if that was we could definitely assume it was for Jinx, but I think it was also for Heimerdinger since he was gone. But yeah, so he burns the paper, and then we see kind of like new beginnings here, and Caitlyn's doing like a voiceover thing about how the city has changed and how unexpected people came to help them and everything. And now Savika, she's a member of the council. Some of them aren't thrilled by it, but it doesn't matter because the whole both the underground and the top side, they're united finally. And then we cut to Mel, and she took over Embessa's army, and she's now going somewhere. This is her stuff now, and she's keeping the memory of her mother with her battle mask there, her armor. Last scene we get is with Caitlyn and Vi, and now Caitlyn's sporting that eye patch, and she's looking at the schematics of the tower. And as she does, she's seeing like the exhaust portals and stuff. And she sees that Jinx could have gotten away. That's what we're seeing here. So that's why she's looking at the schematics, because she's still trying to figure out, did Jinx survive? But, she goes over to Vi, and she goes, where was it? Oh, this was great. I can't forget that. She's actually humming the song from the opening in season 1 that Powder was singing on the bridge. Yeah, she's humming it, and Caitlyn's like, "Oh, you're singing a song?" She goes, "It's a song my mother used to sing." And she sits beside her, and Caitlyn goes, "Are you still in this fight?" Because she sees like she's somewhere else in her mind. And Vi looks at her. She turns to her and she goes, "I'm the dirt under your fingernails, Cupcake. Nothing's gonna clean me out." So basically, she's there with her together, and whatever's gonna come, they're gonna be able to do shit together. And that's actually the name of the episode, "The Dirt Under Your Fingernails." But we do see one last thing. We see an airship that's leaving Peltover, and as they're leaning on one another, we see this airship, and as this airship goes by, again, you got to assume, well, that's not Mel's ship. Mel had the army and the other thing. This could actually be Jinx. And the very last thing we see is like when they do the music video cut, every time we saw Jinx, that's the last thing we see on screen over here. I couldn't catch it. It went too quickly, but there's like that pink flash with the kind of scribbles kind of flashes over here. So maybe Jinx did decide to leave. And she didn't die. She used her super speed and got herself out of there. So I like how they left it kind of open-ended like that.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So pretty cool. So you kind of take it a couple of different ways, but they left us enough to chew on, and kind of think about what could happen, what's potentially going to happen. Because this story's kind of closed, but they said there's 2 spin-offs that they had done. And I think I will be showing that. I got to go to YouTube, though. Let me see where it was. Well, yeah, thoughts on the episode?
It was fantastic that scene with Jinx, and that was wow. It was powerful.
It really was. It's this show gets your heart in your throat multiple times. Like,
Absolutely.
The connection between the people, the siblings, the father-daughter stuff, all of that. Like, they just, they nailed it. They nailed it.
I mean, even the Victor and Jace storyline is just amazing. It was kind of like they were brothers, sort of.
Yep. Yeah, they saved each other multiple times.
Yeah.
Really beautiful stuff how they did it. And then again, the whole thing too would echo, the heartbreak of that poor kid. But he was essentially the guy who saved everyone.
He caused it and he saved everyone.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that gave the tip at the very beginning that caused all of it, you little shit.
Right?
That's right.
But it does feel like it's to be through it all because of that, because of him going out of time or however, wherever came and ended it. We get the flashback and everything goes right. to me, this entire Arcane, I know you said it was about the sisters, but it's about Echo.
It's kind of about all of them. I mean, it was a good balance.
You know, but I mean, it's like really from the beginning, he's a boy who tries to swindle and it doesn't go so well. And he tells his friends where the guy was and look what happened. And then he makes up for it his whole life. He gets a little glimpse of heaven with Powder. Yeah. And then at his dying moment says, fuck it, I'm going past 3 minutes because he didn't really have much of a choice since he was being choked to death every time it stopped. You know, so yeah, I mean, he's definitely one. And again, everybody has a role in here. Giggity, a role. But storytelling perfectly. And again, like I said from day dot, man, you learn what you need to know when you need to know it. And there is so much in every episode that you don't realize. You can watch it 5-6 times.
Oh, yeah.
And you will find something new every time.
By the way, I'm going to close YouTube. So here's the link for Rumble. I'm going to show some clips for you guys. And we're going to show the trailer to Nexus, the one of the spinoffs. So there was a pretty big trailer that they showed. Have any of you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, beautiful. Then, yeah.
I mean, I remember reading an article in December that there were multiple possible spinoffs being planned. I didn't realize that they had enough to have a trailer.
Yeah, there's 2 that they're working on. And one, it seems like, they've already got a massive chunk of it already done. So, we're going to show that. But first, we got to close out the YouTube portion because they'll hit me for it. So closing YouTube now.